Jordan had always loved the stage. From the moment he first stepped into the spotlight during a school assembly in elementary school, he felt a rush of excitement that was hard to describe. The thrill of performing, the energy of the audience, and the chance to tell a story captivated him. Now, as a junior in high school, he was eager to showcase his talent in the annual school play, a beloved tradition that brought the entire community together. This year, the drama department was putting on a classic musical, and Jordan had his heart set on the lead role. He had spent weeks preparing for the auditions, practicing his lines in front of the mirror, and even singing along to the soundtrack to perfect his vocal delivery. He felt confident in his abilities and was excited to share his passion with his classmates. As the audition day approached, however, Jordan began to notice something unsettling. During the rehearsals leading up to the auditions, he observed the drama teacher, Miss Thompson, interacting with the students. It seemed that she favored the white students, often giving them more attention and encouragement. Jordan watched as she praised their performances, offering them constructive feedback, and even sharing inside jokes that made them laugh. Meanwhile, he and a few other students of color felt overlooked, receiving little more than a nod or a brief comment. Despite this, Jordan tried to remain optimistic. He reminded himself that he had worked hard and that talent should shine through, regardless of favoritism. He believed in his abilities and was determined to give it his all during the audition. As he rehearsed his lines one last time in his room, he felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. Would his hard work pay off? Would he be able to break through the bias he sensed in the room? The day of the auditions arrived, and the atmosphere in the drama room was electric. Students filled the space, chatting nervously and sharing last-minute tips with one another. Jordan arrived early, wanting to get a feel for the room and calm his nerves. He took a deep breath, reminding himself that he had prepared for this moment. As he waited for his turn, he watched his classmates audition one by one. Some were confident, delivering their lines with flair, while others stumbled through their performances, clearly nervous. Jordan felt a pang of empathy for them, knowing how much pressure everyone was under. However, he couldn't shake the feeling that the dynamics in the room were skewed. He noticed how Miss Thompson's demeanor changed when the white students auditioned. Her smile widened, and her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. When it was a student of color's turn, her feedback felt more critical, as if she were searching for flaws rather than celebrating their strengths. Finally, it was Jordan's turn. As he stepped onto the stage, he felt a rush of adrenaline. He took a moment to center himself, recalling the countless hours he had spent practicing. He delivered his lines with passion, pouring his heart into the performance. He sang the song he had chosen, his voice resonating through the room. For a brief moment, he felt like he was in his own world, lost in the music and the character he was portraying. When he finished, he looked out at the panel of judges, including Miss Thompson. He saw a flicker of surprise in her eyes, but it quickly faded. She offered him polite applause, but Jordan couldn't shake the feeling that she was still holding back. He left the stage, feeling a mix of pride and uncertainty, wondering if he had done enough to impress her. After a long day of auditions, the cast list was posted in the school hallway. Jordan's heart raced as he approached the paper, surrounded by a crowd of eager students. He scanned the list, searching for his name among the lead roles. As he read through the names, his heart sank. The lead role had gone to a white student, someone who had received more attention during the auditions. Disappointment washed over him, and he felt a lump form in his throat. He had given it his all, and yet it felt as if his efforts had been overshadowed by the biases that permeated the audition process. He turned away from the crowd, trying to hold back tears. It wasn't just about losing the role, it was about feeling invisible in a space where he had hoped to shine. As he walked away, he overheard some classmates discussing the cast list. "Of course, they picked him," one of them said. "He's always been Miss Thompson's favorite." Jordan felt a wave of frustration. It was as if his hard work and talent had been dismissed simply because of the color of his skin. He wanted to scream, to make them understand how unfair it felt, but instead, he kept walking, feeling the weight of disappointment settle heavily on his shoulders. In the days following the casting announcement, Jordan struggled to process his feelings. He had hoped that his passion and dedication would be enough to earn him the lead role, but the reality of the situation weighed heavily on him. He found it difficult to focus in class, his mind often drifting back to the audition and the disappointment that followed. His friends noticed his change in demeanor. One afternoon, while sitting in the cafeteria, his best friend, Malik, leaned over and asked, "Hey man, what's up? You've been really quiet lately." Jordan sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I didn't get the part one wanted in the play," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I thought I did well, but it feels like it didn't matter." Malik frowned, his expression shifting to one of concern. "That sucks, man. You worked hard for it. Did you talk to Miss Thompson about it?" Jordan shook his head. "I don't think it would make a difference. I just feel like she already had her favorites picked out before the auditions even started." Malik nodded, understanding the frustration in his friend's voice. "You know, it's not just you. I've heard other people say the same thing about her. It's like she doesn't see the talent in everyone." Jordan appreciated Malik's support, but it didn't ease the sting of rejection. He felt a sense of isolation, as if he were navigating a world that didn't fully recognize his worth. As rehearsals for the play began, Jordan watched from the sidelines, feeling like an outsider. He attended every practice, supporting his classmates and trying to stay positive, but it was hard to shake the feeling of being overlooked. He saw the lead actor, Jake, receiving praise from Miss Thompson, while the rest of the cast seemed to blend into the background. Jordan couldn't help but feel that the dynamics of the rehearsal mirrored the audition process. Favoritism was alive and well. One afternoon, during a break in rehearsal, Jordan overheard a conversation between two students. "I can't believe they didn't pick Jordan for the lead," one of them said. "He's way more talented than Jake." The other student nodded in agreement. "Yeah, but you know how Miss Thompson is. She always goes for the same type of person." Jordan felt a flicker of hope at their words, but it was quickly overshadowed by the reality of the situation. As the weeks went by, Jordan began to feel a growing sense of frustration. He loved theater, but the experience was becoming increasingly painful. He wanted to speak up, to address the bias he felt was permeating the drama department, but he didn't know how. He feared that voicing his concerns would only lead to further alienation. One evening, after a particularly grueling rehearsal, Jordan sat in his room, staring at the script for the play. He felt a mix of anger and sadness, and he knew he had to do something. He picked up his phone and began typing a message to Malik. "I think I need to talk to Miss Thompson about how I feel. I can't just sit back and let this happen." Malik responded quickly, encouraging him to go for it. "You have every right to speak up, man. Your voice matters. Just be honest about how you feel." With Malik's support in mind, Jordan felt a surge of determination. He decided to request a meeting with Miss Thompson, hoping to express his feelings about the audition process and the favoritism he had observed. The next day, he approached her after rehearsal, his heart racing. "Miss Thompson, do you have a moment to talk?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. She looked up from her notes, a hint of surprise on her face. "Of course, Jordan. What's on your mind?" As they stepped aside, Jordan took a deep breath. "I wanted to talk about the auditions and how I've been feeling. I've noticed that it seems like some students get more attention than others, and it's been hard for me to watch." He felt a rush of vulnerability as he spoke, but he pressed on. "I've worked really hard, and it feels like my efforts don't matter as much because of my race." Miss Thompson's expression shifted, and for a moment, Jordan thought he saw a flicker of understanding in her eyes. "I appreciate you bringing this to my attention, Jordan. I want to ensure that everyone feels valued in this program," she said, her tone more serious. "I'll take your feedback into consideration moving forward." After their conversation, Jordan felt a weight lift off his shoulders. He had taken a step toward advocating for himself, and while he wasn't sure if it would lead to immediate change, he felt empowered by the act of speaking up. The next few rehearsals were different for him. He watched as Miss Thompson made an effort to engage with all the students, offering praise and constructive feedback more evenly. It was a small shift, but it gave Jordan hope that his voice had made a difference. As the play approached, Jordan found himself more involved than ever. He began to help his classmates with their lines and choreography, offering support and encouragement. He realized that even though he wasn't in the lead role, he could still contribute to the production in meaningful ways. His passion for theater was reignited, and he felt a sense of camaraderie with the cast that he hadn't experienced before. One afternoon, during a break, Jordan gathered a few of his classmates to discuss their characters and the themes of the play. "I think we should really focus on how our characters relate to each other," he suggested. "There's a lot of depth in the story, and we can bring that out if we work together." His enthusiasm was infectious, and soon the group was brainstorming ideas, laughing and sharing insights. As they collaborated, Jordan felt a sense of belonging that had been missing. He realized that while the lead role was important, the heart of the production lay in the collective effort of the entire cast. He began to see the value in supporting one another, and it strengthened the bond among the students. Part 7. The Performance Night. The night of the performance arrived, and the auditorium buzzed with excitement. Parents, friends, and community members filled the seats, eager to see the culmination of weeks of hard work. Jordan stood backstage, his heart racing with anticipation. He watched as the lead actor, Jake, prepared for his entrance, and he felt a mix of pride and nervousness. As the curtain rose, the energy in the room shifted. The cast delivered their lines with passion, and the audience responded with laughter and applause. Jordan felt a thrill as he watched his classmates shine on stage, their hard work paying off in real time. He cheered them on from the wings, feeling a sense of pride in being part of the production, even if he wasn't in the spotlight. During a particularly emotional scene, Jordan noticed Miss Thompson in the audience, her expression one of genuine admiration. He felt a sense of validation wash over him. Perhaps his earlier conversation had opened her eyes to the talent and dedication of all the students, regardless of their backgrounds. As the final scene approached, the cast gathered for their last bow. Jordan stood alongside his classmates, beaming with pride. The audience erupted into applause, and he felt a rush of joy. In that moment, he realized that the experience had been about more than just the lead role. It had been about growth, resilience, and the power of community. Part 8. Reflection and Change. After the performance, the cast celebrated their success, and Jordan felt a sense of fulfillment. He had not only contributed to the play, but had also found his voice in the process. As he mingled with his classmates, he overheard conversations about how they could improve the drama program moving forward. "Maybe we should have a discussion about inclusivity in our auditions next year," one student suggested. "It's important that everyone feels like they have a chance." Jordan felt a surge of hope at the idea. It seemed that his earlier conversation with Miss Thompson had sparked a larger dialogue among the students. Later that week, Jordan received a message from Miss Thompson. She wanted to meet with him to discuss the future of the drama program and how they could work together to ensure that all students felt valued and included. Excited yet nervous, Jordan agreed to the meeting, eager to contribute to the changes he hoped to see. When they met, Miss Thompson expressed her gratitude for his honesty and courage in speaking up. "I realize now that I need to be more aware of how I interact with all my students," she said. "Your feedback has opened my eyes, and I want to create a more inclusive environment moving forward." Jordan felt a sense of pride as they discussed potential changes, including workshops on diversity and inclusion for both students and faculty. He knew that this was just the beginning, but he was excited about the possibilities. He had turned a painful experience into an opportunity for growth, not just for himself, but for his entire school community. Part 9. A Lasting Impact. As the school year progressed, Jordan continued to advocate for inclusivity within the drama department. He worked closely with Ms. Thompson to implement new practices, including diverse casting and open discussions about bias in the arts. The changes were met with enthusiasm from students, and Jordan felt a renewed sense of purpose. By the time auditions for the next play rolled around, the atmosphere in the drama room was noticeably different. Students of all backgrounds were excitedly discussing their roles and the stories they wanted to tell. Jordan felt a sense of pride as he watched his classmates engage in conversations about representation and inclusivity. The changes they had implemented were beginning to take root, and it felt like a new era for the drama department. When audition day arrived, Jordan felt a mix of excitement and nerves. He had decided to audition for a supporting role, knowing that he wanted to continue contributing to the production while also encouraging others to shine. As he stepped onto the stage, he felt a sense of camaraderie with his fellow actors. They were all there to support one another, and it was a refreshing change from the previous year's experience. As the auditions progressed, Jordan noticed that Ms. Thompson was actively engaging with all the students, providing feedback and encouragement regardless of their backgrounds. It was clear that she had taken their earlier discussions to heart, and the atmosphere in the room was filled with positivity and support. Jordan felt a sense of relief wash over him. The changes they had fought for were becoming a reality. After the auditions, the cast list was posted, and Jordan's heart raced as he approached the bulletin board. He scanned the names, feeling a mix of anticipation and anxiety. When he saw his name next to a prominent supporting role, he couldn't help but smile. He had earned this opportunity, and it felt like a victory not just for himself but for everyone who had advocated for change. Part 10. The new production. As rehearsals began for the new play, Jordan found himself thriving in his role. He worked closely with the lead actors, offering support and sharing ideas to enhance their performances. The collaborative spirit in the room was infectious, and he felt a sense of belonging that he had longed for. One day, during a rehearsal break, Jordan gathered a few of his classmates to discuss their characters. "I think we should explore how our characters' backgrounds influence their decisions in the story," he suggested. The group eagerly engaged in the discussion, sharing insights and perspectives that enriched their understanding of the play. Jordan felt a sense of fulfillment as they collaborated, knowing that their diverse experiences were contributing to a more authentic portrayal of the story. As the opening night approached, the excitement in the air was palpable. The cast had bonded over their shared experiences, and they were eager to showcase their hard work to the audience. Jordan felt a sense of pride, not only in his performance, but also in the progress they had made as a group. They had created a space where everyone felt valued, and it was a testament to the power of advocacy and collaboration. On the night of the performance, the auditorium was filled with friends, family, and community members. As the lights dimmed and the curtain rose, Jordan felt a rush of adrenaline. He delivered his lines with confidence, fully immersed in the character he had worked so hard to develop. The audience responded with laughter and applause, and he felt a sense of connection with them that was exhilarating. Part 11. A celebration of change. After the final bow, the cast celebrated their success, and Jordan felt a sense of accomplishment wash over him. They had not only put on a fantastic show, but had also created a more inclusive environment within the drama department. As they gathered for a group photo, Jordan looked around at his classmates, feeling grateful for the journey they had shared. In the weeks that followed, Jordan continued to advocate for inclusivity in the arts. He collaborated with Ms. Thompson to organize workshops for students and faculty, focusing on the importance of representation in theater. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and more students began to engage in discussions about diversity and inclusion. Jordan's efforts did not go unnoticed. The school administration recognized the positive changes in the drama department and decided to highlight their work in the school newsletter. They featured an article about the importance of inclusivity in the arts, showcasing the students' commitment to creating a welcoming environment for everyone. As the school year came to a close, Jordan reflected on how far he had come. He had turned a painful experience into an opportunity for growth, not just for himself, but for his entire school community. He had found his voice and used it to advocate for change, and in doing so, he had inspired others to do the same.